Good evening, guys, and happy Monday to all of your sunshiny faces. So guys, I stayed up a little bit later tonight so I could watch the Bulls game that was on, and it didn't start till 9:30 because they're on the like West Coast. So for us it's 9:30 and they're playing right now. So like I said, stayed up pretty late to watch that, but I am so tired, honestly, guys. I did not sleep very well last night because I don't know really like entirely what is going on, but my legs like have just felt like I cannot get comfortable. Like they feel sort of sore, and like I brought it up to my mom too because I was like, you know, like if it was just from like, you know, doing all the yard work on Saturday or whatever, and you know, being like sore from that, then like I could understand like on Sunday it bothering me, you know, but it didn't start until, you know, like, or like Saturday night or whatever, like just being like sore. Sort of like when you are like lifting, you know, working out and stuff like that, and then your arms just feel like jelly afterwards. That's not how my legs feel, but they just feel like, you know, normally it's like it comes very quickly. Like, so if again, like it was sore, like they were bothering me from that, I feel like it should have been like Saturday afternoon like that, you know, or Saturday evening, whatever, that they like would start bothering me. It wasn't until Sunday night, and then again, and then I woke up, so like, you know, it was Sunday night, yesterday night, and then in the morning too, and like I couldn't hardly sleep like overnight because they were just bothering me so bad. And then when I actually got up, and I've been up all day today, actually I felt totally fine. And then they started bothering me again this afternoon. And I was like, that's really weird. Like, because again, if I was like, oh, like that's sort of how they feel. They sort of feel sore. But at the same time, like not really. So like, I don't really know. And it's bugging me because I feel like I'm not gonna be able to sleep again tonight because of them like irritating, being like annoying, just sort of feeling. And like I said, just like, I don't know, like I just can't really get comfortable. That is why I feel like I sort of ended up sleeping in last night, or sleeping in this morning, because I didn't sleep well at all last night. So yeah, there's that. But I ended up getting to, like I said, not very much today. I did edit and upload, but and I did my German lesson. That was pretty much all I ended up really getting to today. But I told you guys too how I got really frustrated. I think it was on Friday, because the Duolingo that I've been practicing my German on lately for like the past, you know, like pretty much over a year now, they, like a couple months after I had been doing it, you know, maybe about like 6 months or something like that into it, apparently they had introduced this new like the learning tree, sort of, I guess, I think it's what it's called, but like it's like the different like bubbles, or like the different lessons, sort of, I guess, and then each lesson has like the like lessons inside of it, like for like that unit or whatever, even though that's not necessarily a unit, because then they have the units broken down differently as well. I don't know entirely actually like what that is, but they like I said, it came out with like this different new one when I had already started. And so then my mom, who had started doing her, like she started doing Duolingo, and she started specifically doing the German one. I don't know if it changed for all of the like units, or if it was just for the German one. I think that a lot of them ended up getting like new, sort of like a facelift sort of thing. So like the units that that started with it, like at first there was like basic ones, like it taught the different thes in German, and then there was another one, I think it was like basics 2, and then I think it was like phrases maybe, or something like that, and then it went on to, I don't even know what was after that, maybe food and animals or something. And now all of that has changed. It's different. So I was like already through the first whole unit, and I was on to like halfway, or maybe a little close to halfway through the second one. like I said, I've been moving really slow because I really want to try and understand what I'm doing before I like move on. Like, I'm not just like, oh, like I got this, you know, I learned this well enough to just sort of like breeze through it or whatever. Like, oh, this is easy. Like, it's, for me, it's a lot of repetitive practice. So as long as I'm practicing it repeatedly, I've been doing really well. And like I said, you know, I've been able to remember a lot of the stuff that's on there. So that's been working out really well for me. But I've also been making flashcards so that, again, when there's stuff that I want to review and stuff like that, I have them on flashcards. And I haven't, other than the first like couple of like lessons, I haven't put a lot of like, you know, effort into them that much. But now that they switched to, on Friday, they switched me to the new like learning tree. The lessons are different and some of them are sort of combined. They introduced new vocabulary. Like, there's a lot of just like different and new, and so like now it has me where like I'm not starting over from the beginning, but I'm starting, and like, so like the basics still are like even introduce some new things that were different from the way they taught it the first time. So like it did introduce not necessarily new vocabulary, but some of the vocabulary that was like in that lesson wasn't what was normally in that one. It was also what was in maybe like a different one. And then like for the animals, they introduced at least 2 new animals that I didn't know. And then there's another one like restaurants. It's sort of like ordering at a restaurant and stuff like that. Like that's what it teaches you, and like the different words for stuff. But it also has food on there, which was again a different lesson from the first one. It was like the food was in the first one, and then restaurant was like different. But it again introduced new foods. It introduced like, again, new vocabulary like restaurant and like menu and like, what was I gonna say, waiter, you know, that kind of stuff that like also wasn't exactly the same. But then it also doesn't implement all of the food that was taught in the food lesson that was from the first one. And so, but all of these new words that I haven't learned yet, they don't really go over. So like every once in a while, all of a sudden there'll just be a new word in there and I'm like, I have no clue what that means. And you can like click on it to learn it, and like, you know, or like click on it so that it'll tell you what that word is. But it's not helpful for me when I haven't actually learned it the first time. And so I don't have like flashcards on that or anything like that. So I've been trying to go through and like add flashcards for the ones that I'm finding that are new. But they also don't have like, I wish that they have like a vocabulary section for that specific unit, or like that specific lesson. So like, again, everything that is like teaching you about restaurants, they have all of the words that you're going to go over, but like the way it always works too is they also stack on each other. So again, like you're going to be obviously learning new words. So like anything that's implemented in that lesson, I wish they'd have like a list of, so that again, I can go through and be like, okay, these are all the new ones, and these were the ones that I didn't know already. And so these are the ones that I can then add to, like, again, flashcards or review or like look up and learn, because sometimes too they have like different meanings and stuff like that. And again, like, you know, things like that, and the way maybe that they're used aren't like, they might use it one way in a sentence, but it can be used another way in a different sentence, and it sometimes doesn't always tell you that if it's like, this is the way it's being used in this sentence versus again in another sentence. But because, you know, and the meanings might differ slightly or something like that. And so like I said, it's just really confusing right now for me, and I'm really starting to get, I don't want to say discouraged, because I'm like, oh wow, it actually sort of made me further now than I was before, but with so much more new stuff that I haven't actually learned yet. So I'm like trying to go over stuff that I don't necessarily, again, know or haven't grasped or don't understand. And again, like I said, because I've been taking it really slow, and you know, like I said, I probably could be way further than I am right now, but because I've just been taking it a lot slower and trying to really like grasp and understand the words and stuff like that, it does make it a little bit more difficult now, because I'm like, these are a whole bunch of new words that I've never done, and they just like immediately throw you into the lesson, because those are lessons that they say I've already finished with new material that I haven't actually learned yet. So like they're like I said, qualifying me as like being like fluent in like this, you know, small lesson or these small words, but I'm not, because those are new ones that have been thrown in there now too. And so when I practice it, it's practicing it where like I need to spell out the whole word that I've never even heard and don't even know what it's actually used for, and so it's really difficult and sort of confusing. So like I said, that's one thing that I've been just a little bit like like frustrated about sort of over this weekend too, and trying to like do that. And I feel like I've been taking way more time now and not actually getting a lot done either too. Like I'm like, okay, I finished that, but I'm like only finished like practicing one lesson instead of like I used to be able to do several all in like one day. Whereas like I said, right now I'm just doing one because the practice is like so difficult, because it's all new stuff that I haven't learned, and I'm doing it at like the highest level of like practice again. So yeah, but the one thing that I can do, which I've been thinking about, is that I can go through, and they do have on there, on the not mobile version, but on like the like web version, that you can go to like the dictionary, and they also have words that you know. So like all of your words that you've learned are listed there. But the thing that sort of stinks is they don't let you like click on the word to then take you to the dictionary so you can like go and review it. It just literally has the word like dog, for example, and then it says like that's a noun, and it says how strong you are in learning it, and that's it. And it doesn't give you like really anything else to like practice. It doesn't even tell you like a dog, like what does that mean in, you know, like English, you know, or like anything. So I'm like, I think I know what that one is, I think I know what this is. And so, but the dictionary portion, I can then look the word up and be like, okay, and then I can try and add flashcards that way. But some of the ones that I practiced that were new ones, they hadn't added to the words of lists of words that I know yet. So like I said, it is like right now, I feel like I'm just getting very frustrated in it. And I'm sure once I start doing practicing the stuff that I don't know yet, more will be helpful. But like I can't move on to any new content even, because all the new stuff is in lessons that I've already finished. But it's all like I said, new or like kind of thrown together lessons. Like it even had me like finish directions. I was like, I know nothing about directions at all, but because it also implemented like another lesson that I had previously learned, it was like, yeah, you finished that one, versus just not having it done at all. So like I said, I'm like very sort of frustrated about this a little bit. And again, it does tell me that like now because of that I'm further, but I'm not, and I'm not learning anything like new, and I'm not learning it well either too. I'm just like doing it so I can get through the lesson, and that's not the point of learning it. Like I said, the way that I was picking it up was, you know, again, and the way I was taking my time to learn it was useful for me, and I felt like I was retaining the information really well. But now doing it this way, where I'm just like, oh, I'll just get through the lesson to get through the lesson and practice it, just, and you know, using all these new words that I don't know, all of these new animals, for example, that I don't know, I'm just like trying to get through the lesson to get through it, because it's not like, you know, it's difficult. Or again, like I'm like, oh yeah, I know like most of that, but I don't know, I'm just like, I was also too at a point in the like tree before where I was like, okay, I'm just starting to get like the last couple lessons I had finished, but I kept repeating them and going over them to really try and like learn the material. Not only was it just the vocabulary, but also like the like grammar and stuff like that. So I was really trying to learn that portion of it, and now it's like I can't even learn the grammar portion of stuff because I'm trying to just learn the words all over again. And like I said, that's sort of the part that's difficult. But so I've been thinking about, instead of doing flashcards, because I have got a huge stack of flashcards, which is awesome, but they don't fit in the little pencil case sort of thing that I have anymore, and it seems like it's a lot, like, and I'm like sort of feel like I'm wasting paper. So what I wanted to do was actually like maybe do it with loose leaf paper and keep it in a binder instead, for not every every word, but like being able to have multiple words on like one piece of paper, and ones that I've, like I said, learned and I'm going over, and I can like go against like their dictionary. And I want to use their dictionary just because it's the way that they teach it then when I go through like the you know, the lessons and stuff like that. That way I'm like, oh, okay, I do know this. And again, it is also helpful for me when I write things down. So it's like learning something twice, like remembering it twice, I guess, is that I'm doing it on the app, but I'm also writing it down and writing, you know, the other things with it down as well. So it helps me with that. But because again, I skipped through and now it's like, oh, you know all this stuff. I'm like, I don't, and I'm just doing it in the app now and not doing it with like flashcards or things that I've written down. So it's, like I said, a little bit like I'm feeling a little discouraged with that. So anyways, yeah, but I told you guys about that sort of on Friday, and I was like, I'll just have to tell you guys. I think it was on Friday maybe, or maybe on Thursday or something like that. I think I shared a haul, so maybe it was on Thursday, and I was just like, yeah, I'll have to let you guys know some other time about that, and how, like I said, they sort of switched all of that over now. So what my mom was practicing was all the new stuff, and I was practicing still all of like from the old way of like their like teaching it. But it's sort of funny too, because Jack, one of his classes that he has a not very good grade in right now is actually in Spanish. He's taking Spanish 3. And he was like, oh, you know, like the stuff that we're learning now isn't difficult, but I'm forgetting all the stuff that I learned from Spanish 1 and 2. He's like, and it's like all stacking on top of each other. And, you know, so some of this stuff that I'm learning, I'm having trouble with because of, you know, like not remembering some of the you know, again, like grammar, all that kind of stuff, things from like the first, you know, Spanish class that he took. And so he started doing Duolingo also and was practicing it for like, he's maybe only done it for about 2 weeks now. And so he, I think maybe has a C, or maybe he just barely a D, but like I said, he'd been practicing it, and so he wants to get his grade up to at least a B, because if he does, then he doesn't have to take the final for like at the end, the week before Christmas break. And so if he doesn't have to take any finals, he doesn't have to go in for that week, I think, or something like that, or at least for the 3 days before when they take the finals. And so he's like, if I can get all of my grades, which I think he has 2 C's, like I said, the D in Spanish, and then everything else is A's and B's. And he's like, the other 2 classes, he's like, I think I can get up. He's like, but Spanish, I'm like scared about now. He's like learning this, but he'd been practicing it already for like 2 weeks. And he's like, so they had a test like last week, I think, and he actually did really, really well on it, because he said that, and he told his teacher, because he was practicing on the app and explaining the whole entire thing to his teacher, like, you know, that I was doing it, and then for German, and then I suggested he try it. He's like, and it's been really helpful in like helping me go back over old material that I'm not remembering anymore. And so but the thing is too, is that they have stuff available for the last Spanish class, like from Spanish 2 that was last year, but not stuff from Spanish 1 that was from 2 years ago. And so that's why he's like, some of this stuff, like some, again, like grammar things or whatever, like they had some stuff available for them to still go over, but like other than just his notes that he took or whatever, which I don't even know if he still has, he doesn't have anything else to like go over and do review other than he was using this. So now that he did, he said that it was super helpful, and he ended up getting a really high grade on this last test that he took. And so that's what he told his teacher, because he was asking like, oh, can I do like extra credit, or is there any way to get my grade up, you know? And so I believe that his teacher ended up saying like, you did really well on the last test, you know, and that there'll be other opportunities to most likely raise it up, because he's almost at he's at a very high D right now, almost a C. I think he's like 1 point away or something like that, and he's like, I think maybe I can get up to a B so I don't have to take the test, like the final. So it's weird though, because they never did that when I was in school. They never had a like where you could get out of doing your final unless you had like an A in the class, because if not, it would still, I think if you didn't take it, it would take your grade down, because they still had to put it in. It would take it down to like either B or still at an A, but you had to have over a certain percentage. And even in my A classes, like the class I had that were A's, I never had enough like percentage wise to actually be able to not have to take the test, I think. And they never really made that an option. Like I remember, I think my American history teacher did, but other than that, like it was always, you have to take the test, like you have to take your final no matter what. And so, but for Jack, I don't know why they did that last year too, and for them it was just if you were passing, you didn't have to take it, but this year it's you have to have a or B in order to not have to take the final. So he's like, I really hope that I can get them all up so that again he doesn't have to go and take any finals right before Christmas break. So that's his goal, which I think is a really good goal to have. So and again, his practicing Duolingo though has helped him to be able to actually get his Spanish grade up. And like I said, there's some other stuff that I was reading too about, like, you know, people and how fast they're able to actually learn it versus like a college course even too. And by practicing it, you know, however much time in a day versus actually doing like a college course, there's some interesting like statistics and stuff like that about it. But like I said, it's just frustrating for me right now because I feel like I was doing really well, even though I was taking my time and going really slow, which is what my dad's doing with Polish, because that's a very hard language to learn. But like I said, I'm like trying to just take it really slow, and now I'm sort of like just thrown completely off, and I need to sort of get my bearings again, and you know, maybe like I said, do it something where I write everything down on loose leaf paper, keep it in a binder sort of thing is what I'm thinking. So anyways guys, we'll see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.